The Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria yesterday went on a peaceful protest on a nationwide basis. The aim of this protest was to express their dissatisfaction with the situation in the country, established by the rising cases of insecurity, nationwide hardship, and the penury and turmoils that the citizens have been thrown into with the outcome of this current administration. Here is the video.
Fellow Nigerians and gentlemen of the press, it's a message from our national president of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria. We are burdened for Nigeria today because we seem to have lost our sense of value for human life and its sanctity. The level of banditry, kidnapping, violence, insecurity, and savage killings all across the Nigerian landscape has risen to an intolerable height, so that every Nigerian should cry out against it to God for divine intervention and to our government for immediate and effective action. Several Chibok girls are still languishing in captivity. Leah Sharibu is still shackled in bondage by religious kidnappers because she refused to renounce her Christian faith. And the Nigerian state did nothing. Student Deborah Samuel was bombed to death in Sokoto by a murderous mob, and nothing happened to her killers. Since then, Taraba, Plateau, Benue States, and Southern Kaduna have become daily killing fields. Edo, Kogi, and Ondo States have also not been spared. The National Executive Council of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria met for prayers and deliberation on what is going on in Nigeria. We resolved as a Pentecostal community spread across every state of Nigeria to stand together in spiritual warfare. We also resolved to speak out against this evil, hoping that our government will give it deserved attention. It's not the first time we have fasted and we are praying, but we believe that this is a time with a difference. But now we also speak. We call on the federal government to fulfill its constitutional and moral duty of protecting every citizen of Nigeria, irrespective of tribe or religion, so that we can truly be a nation where no one is oppressed.
So why I will always come out to call out our religious leaders to engage and start this very protest, express themselves on the basis of dissatisfaction with what is obtainable in the country. Today, I'm not going to, play down and act as though they didn't do something. So that's why I'm out here today to commend the ministers of God who actually came out and then went on this exercise yesterday. That was a very nice one. It's a very good one for us to come out and then express ourselves and, let the government know that regardless of how you see it, we could be better. We can do much better than this. And I want to commend everybody that came out, all the pastors, all the faithfuls, and, everybody that came out yesterday in different places to, have this protest. That was a very nice one. That's one of the things that we need to be doing as citizens, to be able to, hold our governments accountable, at least come out in perspectives and narratives, at least come out in times like this to let them know that we can actually be better, our society can be better. Life some years back, though Nigeria hasn't been, at its best, but we can't express that some years back, it's better than what we have now. So I must commend you all. And I also want to use this opportunity to reach out to the top men of God. There are top men of God in Nigeria. There are very influential men of God who can use their platforms to, speak senses, appeal to the minds of Nigerians, speak to our politicians, even if you don't use your platforms. Most of them come to our churches. Most of them come and fellowship with us in our services and masses. This is not in the exclusion of reverend fathers, bishops, everybody. We need to be vocal on this particular issue. We need to speak up. It's very, very, very important. Fuel, it doesn't sell cheaper for a religious individual. It doesn't sell cheaper for a non-religious person. For the fact that you're a cleric or a clergyman, you are not exempted from issues regarding insecurity and terrorism attacks. This is an issue that is upon everybody. I want to call upon every religious individual, everybody, speak up. use your platforms. During your prayer conferences, during all the prayer meetings, early morning cry, early morning prayers, and all the rest of them. Use 5 minutes, admonish the government, speak to the citizens, tell them to burn down these issues about tribalism and nepotism. Let's throw them away. Let's come together as a country and select our leaders, leaders who are capable, leaders who are competent, so that we can be able to move this country forward. Let's use our platforms to condemn these issues of insecurity. Condemn them. Speak to the security agencies, speak to the government, let everybody put heads together and find a lasting solution to this problem. We need to be responsible, we need to be responsive. Prayers will not solve it all, but diligent engagement with our problems to come together and find lasting solutions to all these problems will be the best thing that will happen to us as a people. So once more, that was a nice one from the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria. It was a very nice one to all the men of God and all the people that came out yesterday. Kudos to you all. More of this. That's what we want to see. Speak to the people, talk to their congregations on the need to engage the process of selecting our leaders, get their PVCs, shun all these prophecies and all these narratives that claim to be coming from God, discouraging people from engaging the process because President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the ruling party will still return back to power. Shun down all these things. Sometimes these things sound as though, they are being sponsored to keep people, uninterested, or to keep people in a state where they are not going to have this enthusiasm to engage the process just because they have been given the impression that regardless of what they do, it's not going to change the status quo. No, we need to set aside that barrier. We need to set aside that menace, as far as I'm concerned, because that's what it is. Put it aside. Encourage people to engage their civic responsibilities and, be very, very active in the determination of those who will pilot the affairs of this country till the next political season. That's my submission this morning. I'm very happy with the people and I want to see more of this. Thank you so much. God bless you.